When a dam is operating exactly as its engineers intended, the water held within its walls sits peacefully and idly. When something goes wrong, affecting the water pressure levels, the dam transforms into a man-made weapon of destruction, catapulting trillions of gallons of rapidly moving liquid in the direction of unsuspecting people, houses, and towns. Catastrophes like this have happened all over the world, from Michigan to Colombia, Laos to Brazil, and yes, even the world-famous Niagara Falls. Far too many times have we witnessed avoidable disasters. What causes something like this to occur? How much danger are we actually in? Time to find out. Dams are built to withstand the harshest of weather conditions and are designed to stay in place for decades, hopefully centuries. But the unfortunate reality is that no piece of construction can last forever, no matter how many thousands of tons of rock, steel, and bolts are involved. As a dam ages, the risk of catastrophe grows. The people of Michigan were dealt that lesson firsthand when not one, but two of their largest dams collapsed in May of 2020. The visuals are mesmerizing, but the danger and destruction cannot be ignored. Combined, Central Michigan's Edenville Dam, which is here, and its neighboring Sanford Dam, over here, caused at least $175 million in damage and left behind two empty lake beds. Once Edenville failed, the floodwaters quickly gushed downstream, exposing cracks in the Sanford and turning its lake into little more than a puddle. These two dams highlighted a glaring issue in American engineering: aging infrastructure projects, like Edenville, which was built in 1924, almost 100 years ago, need to be reevaluated. Tom Smith, the executive director of the American Society of Civil Engineers, suggested that the cost of repairing life-threatening dams across the country could top $20 billion, a number exceptionally bigger than the allocated budget. Halfway across the world is the Southeast Asian nation of Laos, where residents witnessed a catastrophe of their own. On the 23rd of July, 2018, at approximately 8 p.m., Saddle Dam D in the Champasak province collapsed, violently spilling its contents across communities in every direction, sweeping away homes, roads, and bridges. Just look at this footage as cars and people scramble. It's truly terrifying. The collapsed section was part of a much larger hydroelectric dam system, which came at an initial cost of roughly $1.2 billion. Heavy rainfall had caused the waters to rapidly rise, and ultimately, the dam wasn't prepared for it. Reports revealed substandard construction, and for that reason, the government had considered taking legal action against the company responsible. Saddle Dam D was about 26 feet wide, 2,500 feet long, and 52 feet high, and was intended to help divert water around a local reservoir. However, the choice to build on top of the reservoir may have been the integral problem, with underground movements causing a rotational slump. Neighboring countries, including South Korea, Vietnam, and Singapore, combined for multi-millions in emergency relief. The Ban Kiao Reservoir Dam on the Ru River in China's Zhoumadian city had two purposes. One, to control floodwaters and push them downstream, and two, to generate clean energy through hydroelectricity. Following its completion in 1952, Ban Kiao served its duty for over 2 decades, up until everything went tragically wrong shortly after 11 a.m. on the 8th of August in 1975. Ban Kiao was claimed to be unbreakable, and for the most part, it was. To break it, the perfect concoction of factors needed to occur, and that's exactly what happened. At the time, Typhoon Nina was wreaking havoc. She was the worst storm ever recorded in the region, pounding down over 40 inches of rainfall in just one day, more than the entire annual average. The Ru River was rapidly rising, and residents were hastily trying to stack sandbags atop one another as a defense mechanism. With too much water, the clay dam caved in. Following this disaster, as well as the preceding 1998 Yangtze River floods, China has spent almost $10 billion in repairing and consolidating the country's 9,197 degraded reservoirs. As we head back up to the USA, about a year before the Michigan disasters, another dam failed. This one on the 14th of May, 2019, in Lake Dunlop, near the town of New Braunfels in Texas. That's right about here, on the Guadalupe River. The dam and reservoir were built way back in 1931 with the objective to harvest hydroelectric power. It's served its purpose ever since and has flourished as a popular vacation destination. Well, not as much these days, because that fateful day in 2019 reiterated the point about America's at-risk aging dam technology. By the end of the day, almost the entirety of Lake Dunlop was empty. Just take a look for yourself. You can actually pinpoint the exact moment that the middle section of the spillgate breaks apart. It's as spectacular as it is horrifying. Local authorities hoped to rebuild the dam as soon as possible, but acknowledged that it would be a multi-million-dollar repair job. That doesn't take into account the millions of dollars that local businesses had lost. The area relied on Lake Dunlop attracting tourists, and no lake means no tourists, at least for the short term. It just goes to show that regular maintenance, although costly, can prove a money-saving and life-saving investment. As we hop over from North America to South America, we learn one crucial lesson. Never build a dam on wetlands. Due to the soft ground, the probability of structural movement increases. This can change the overall weight distribution of the water held and put more pressure on certain spots than others. We saw it firsthand on the 25th of January 2019, when parts of the sand and dried mud structure on which the Brumadinho Dam was built dissolved. As soon as one section started to crumble, the rest followed. What's worse is that this wasn't 3.17 billion gallons of clean drinking water. It was water mixed with mud, mixed with waste, which created a foul, powerful wave of toxic sludge. The company responsible for its construction, called Vale, not only had to deal with the millions of dollars worth of damage to its structure and the wider area, but was also ordered to pay $107 million in compensation to the workers affected by the deadly dam rupture. While not technically a dam, Niagara Falls is one of, if not the most famous water feature in the world, boasting 3 extravagant drops, a total height of 167 feet, and an astounding output of 6 million cubic feet of water pouring over the crest every single minute. It's no wonder that this natural wonder has become one of North America's most popular tourist destinations. But the history of this thundering, border-straddling waterfall isn't all positive. It had a spectacular calamity of its own, way back in 1954. Remarkably, there's clear footage of it. When the first telltale cracks appeared in the rock just beside the falls, local authorities and filmmakers recognized that perhaps something far grander was about to happen. Cameramen from Movietone News kept around-the-clock vigil, waiting for the moment that the magnificent Niagara would tumble. Then, the moment finally struck. 185,000 tons of rock gave way and crashed down into the watery abyss. The California State Water Project is made up of a number of critical pieces of infrastructure. One of those pieces, the Oroville Dam, on the Feather River in the Sierra Nevada foothills, prompted the evacuation of more than 180,000 people when its systems magnificently failed. Issues with this dam go as far back as 2005. Concerns were raised regarding the emergency spillway. While it hadn't yet been used, it appeared to have vulnerabilities. A $100 million request to build an additional spillway was submitted, but the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission deemed it wasn't necessary. On the 11th of February 2017, the dam's emergency spillway started filling up with water for the first time since its construction some 50 years earlier in 1968. It overflowed, causing the nearby ground to erode much faster than the experts expected. Once again, the visuals are striking, but the damage and threat to local property and life is not to be underestimated. The total cost of this repair was projected to exceed $400 million. The floating city of Venice is a picturesque tourist hotspot known for its spectacular, endless waterways. About 62 miles north, another infamous water feature awaits, the Vaillant Dam. Towering 860 feet high in the shadows of Monte Toc, Vaillant is one of the world's tallest dams. It's 89 feet wide and over 72 feet thick at the base. Although not everyone was excited about its creation, the dam was located in a geologically unstable area, which drew significant concern. Then, in 1963, those concerns were realized. When Vaillant's lake was being filled with water, disaster struck. A landslide triggered a mega tsunami in the lake. 1.7 billion cubic feet of water spilled over the dam in a petrifying 820-foot-high wave. As you'd imagine, nothing in its path could withstand such violent force. A media frenzy followed. Conservative newspapers maintained that the event was exclusively natural and unavoidable. Others suggested that the disaster could have been avoided and that the main cause was human error in the form of the oversight of environmental risks. Either way, it was a hefty multi-billion-dollar cleanup. In 1889, locals living near the artificially created Lake Conemaugh in Pennsylvania witnessed one of the most horrific dam collapses in history. In the lead-up to the 31st of May, torrential rainfall had bucketed down on the area, causing the South Fork Dam to fill up to maximum capacity. This wasn't perceived to be a major issue because the dam had a built-in spillway. However, even though the plans specified a spillway width of 150 feet, in reality, it only spanned about 70 feet, and maintenance was poor and irregular. The dam was approximately 72 feet high, 918 feet long, 10 feet wide at its crest, and 220 feet wide at its base, and it all came tumbling down in an instant. The floodwaters pulverized anything and everything that was unlucky enough to sit in its path, with the town of Johnstown particularly impacted. $17 million in damage was caused, which is closer to $1 billion in today's value. When the water levels in man-made lakes or reservoirs come close to dangerous levels, authorities can conduct what's known as an emergency water discharge. It looks like this, and trust us, you don't want to be standing in front of it. These bursts are controlled and safe. Every so often, however, they happen unintentionally as a result of construction malfunction. Case in point, Colombia's 720-foot-tall Hidroituango Dam. A number of landslides occurred in the lead-up to the final breakout, with one landslide clogging the water detour tunnel. Take a look at this incredible footage captured at the precise moment that it bursts. Thousands of people were evacuated from the Antioquia province, and the cost of the project skyrocketed as a result. The company behind the dam suffered $1.3 billion in lost energy sales, forked out $630 million in repair works, and contributed $314 million in expenses related to emergency response actions. All of that on top of the cost of the initial build. Did you learn a little more about the importance of diligent construction today? Well, we certainly hope so. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thanks so much for checking out The Richest. See you next time and have a great day.